All right, let's check out the easy way to chroma key or green screen here in DaVinci Resolve. Now, there are a couple different ways you can green screen here in DaVinci Resolve, and we already have another video showing you how to do that in the color page and in the fusion page. All right, so if you haven't seen that video, go check that one out because it's good to know more than one method. But with this easy and fast method, we can do our green screening right here on the edit page. All right, so let's go ahead and start real quick here. We're going to recreate this scene. Let's start from the beginning so we all know what we are doing. I just need the single viewer. So we'll grab our green screen clip and drag it right in. Now, generally you want some background behind your green screen clip. So be sure to put this on layer 2 or even 3. Then I'll just grab some either video file or an image or something to put underneath it. That works for us. Okay, let's head over to our effects now. And what you want is the open effects, and then scroll down until you find Resolve Effects Key, and you want your 3D keyer. Grab that, throw it right on your green screen clip. Okay, doesn't look like anything has happened yet because it hasn't. Now we can tell there's an effect on this clip because of the effects tag right down there. Then we need to head over to our inspector and the effects tab. Now we can't directly manipulate this yet because we have to change one more setting. So come down here to your transform control on your viewer right here, click this down arrow and choose open effects overlay. Select that, and now we're good to go. So over here in the 3D keyer, we want the standard pick tool. It's going to be the default. All right. So once that's activated here, our effects, open effects overlay, now we can just click. Okay, I'm going to click here on a green part and then just drag until I'm grabbing all the green colors that I need. Of course, what we're trying to do is make the green black because that's transparent. And we want to keep our person, in this case, completely white. That's going to be opaque, or that's going to be what you're going to see. So if I just release now, okay, it's pretty good. But if I come down here to the output, I can change this to the alpha highlight. We can see that we didn't get all of those green colors. Now, what you can do is come over here to the add picker, select that. You might want to also expand your usage options and go to show paths, just so you can see where you've already drawn. And then we can draw in another line to select more. Now, I'm in DaVinci Resolve 18, the public beta, so there's a bug in this right now. So I'll throw in some B-roll of this working properly in version 17. Now, this will work properly here in DaVinci Resolve 18 after we get through the beta. And also you can grab your subtract picker. If you happen to accidentally select your subject, you can draw her out in this case as well. All right, so back over here now, I'm just going to reset my stroke. Okay, grab my picker right there. And let's go ahead and grab all of this green color in one go if we can. It looks like we're pretty good there, but I'll just keep going a little bit more. And that looks good. So then I'll come down here to my output. Of course, we want this on the final composite, but you can also check it on the alpha highlight and your highlight black white as well to make sure you have a nice crisp mask there. All right. So final composite is what, of course, we wanted it to end up on. We can turn off that show path because we don't need to see that. All right. So this looks pretty good. Of course, we have a bit of a glow around her, a bit of spill. No problem for the 3D keyer because we have a de-spill control built right in. By the way, I'm just using my mouse scroll wheel to scroll in and scroll out. And I'm pressing down on the center mouse wheel to drag this around. Okay. So let's use our de-spill control. Just grab it right here and drag it over. Of course, we don't want to go too far, but in this case, looks like about 0.93 is good. And look at that. I'm going to hit P on my keyboard to enter full screen. And there we go. We have a perfect key done here actually in just a few seconds. If I wasn't, of course, talking through this. And that's it. All right. So if that is all you wanted to know, that is how you can easily green screen right here on the edit page in DaVinci Resolve. But now we're going to continue on and do some more samples and look through some of our other options here and get a little bit deeper. All right, so let's come over here. We have more adjustments if you happen to need them. So there's a lot of adjustments in here. I'm not going to go through all of them. You can really just hover over these and it will tell you what it does in a pop-up. Now, the best way to learn what all of these controls do is to just grab some green screen clip and head in here and start adjusting all of your controls to check out what they do. Always reset them with your reset button right there. You do have an option down here to not use the alpha. If you want some sort of a different effect there, you can also take this off of invert. We can invert our selection. So now we have our person here sort of cut out and whatever was behind it is showing through. But in general, you want that invert turned on. So if I wanted to crop in a bit more on this side here, although 3D Keyer did a great job with just our single selection, we could also expand maybe our matte finesse and change our in-out ratio. As you can see just a little bit, right? Let me zoom in here again. Just use that mouse scroll wheel. You can change that in-out, so crop in a bit or out. Just crop in slightly there. You can do things like blur the radius. Just hit Z on my keyboard. That puts my viewer down to the fit right there. So that's kind of a cool effect that you might want to use. Not what we want here. Again, just head in here and try these things out for yourself. You have a couple different pages here on your matte finesse, different morph operations there. And we have a garbage matte. So let's go ahead and do this again now. And this time it's going to be a bit more difficult. We're going to recreate this scene right here where we're doing sort of like a tutorial on a audio plugin. And here it is. I'll double click to load it up here in the viewer. And we don't need the audio from the clip, so we'll just grab just the video, throw it in here. Now, of course, we could go ahead and chroma key this, green screen this without anything underneath it. And then we could choose a background for it later on. But let's go ahead and get rid of that for now. And we'll find something for underneath it. So then I'll grab this clip here, just throw it right underneath there, maybe trim it up a bit. And then grab our green screen clip here, come to effects. We want the 3D keyer. We know what we need now, right? Throw it on there. Again, make sure your open effects overlay is on. If it's not, then you're not going to be able to draw in your stroke. So just make sure that is turned on. All right, over here to the effects tab again, our default picker right there, and just drag and make sure that the green screen becomes black and our subject stays white so we can see through it. Now, this is something you would do, of course, if you're doing any kind of a tutorial kind of a video. All right, so we're pretty good there, although we need to scroll in here. Of course, we have some spill. So again, use your D-spill, pull that up. Don't want to go too far. Right about there looks pretty good. Press Z on my keyboard to put my viewer back there. But now we do have an issue here, don't we? Let's go to maybe alpha highlight. Okay, so we can see the ceiling here. We can see the wall over here. We can see the wall over here as well. You can also, by the way, bypass your 3D keyer right there, turn it back on. All your settings will be remembered, okay? And again, if you ever want to trash it, get rid of it, just hit the trash can right there. All right, so we have a couple different ways we could deal with cropping this out. One way is by using a garbage matte, and this is not the way I would do it for this, but quickly I'll go through it here. So here's your garbage matte. We'll select a rectangle. Now it's not giving us what we want now because we need to invert it. There we go. So what we're doing with the garbage matte is in a way cropping out. Let's go back to none. We're cropping out the ceiling here and the walls. So rectangle, again, on invert, we can grab these corners here and adjust it just how we want. Of course, we can change it down here as well. The width, the height, the center of it. Maybe get it kind of like that there. That's not too bad. You can always change this. Maybe highlight there just so we can see what's going on. Turn off use alpha. We can kind of see it a little bit clearer there. So that is what we're doing. We're cropping out, again, these areas that we just don't need. I might want to give myself a bit more space on that. All right. And back to use that alpha. Okay. Turn off the overlay and it looks pretty good there. But I'm not going to leave it right here in the middle, of course. We're not going to leave our green screen right here over top of everything. So I'd come back to video and then zoom this down. And now you see I end up getting a problem because now we're zooming in and out and I'm going to have to readjust this garbage matte back over here under effects. Make sure I turn the overlay on. then I'd have to adjust it a bit more. You know what I mean? Come back to video, let's turn off the overlay, zoom it down again, might have to adjust it some more, etc., etc. It will work, by the way. You'll just have to adjust it maybe a couple of times to make sure you're cropping out what you want after you do your zooms there on your video page. So there we go. That's pretty much what we want. But instead of using a garbage mat, let's just Control Z out of some of this here. Back to none. Okay, so now we're back to just our key right there. Instead of using the garbage mat, I'm going to come over to video. But before I do that, let me head down here. And I could always change this just so I can see the area I need to crop out. But in this case, I'm just going to bypass the 3D keyer for now. Come back to video, open my cropping tab, and just crop out that left. Again, make sure I'm not going to get too much, just in case your subject is moving, you know, make sure they have enough area to move around. So crop the left and crop the right. Now in this case, I have this microphone right there, so don't want to crop too far. Then crop the top, again, making sure in case your subject is moving up and down, don't crop them in too close if you don't need to, but about there's pretty good in our case. Okay, back over to effects, turn the 3D keyer back on, and there we go. We have a really good looking key there. Now again, I'm not going to leave it like this, so let's come back to video. Now we're going to zoom it down, bring it over to the side, and bring it down into the corner. Let me zoom in so I can see where we're at here. Make sure it's right out of the frame. Okay, that looks pretty good. Z on your keyboard, P to get full screen. And that looks pretty good. But it does look kind of weird in this case because we have this microphone sticking out right here, right? So we're going to put another background behind our green screen here. Yes, we're going to have two backgrounds essentially for this. So grab my green screen clip, take it up one level, head over here. Now, of course, you can grab any video that you want, but in this case, I'm going to grab a still image. So just grab the still image, throw it right there, expand my timeline, grab it, expand it. Very good. There we go. All right, select that image over here in the inspector. We're going to zoom it down, bring it over to the side here, and just match it up here with this microphone. Size it down, bring it over to the side, pull it down, pull it over, and then I'm going to match it up here to the edge of that mic arm so it looks natural that way. Again, press Z. Now in this case, I need to make sure I take my green screen clip because you can see it's not coming out of the frame. So always zoom in there and check on those details whenever you're doing this. Let's go ahead and drag that down a bit more. Again, I just clicked on the track I wanted to use over here in my inspector. Okay, so green screen track, position, just move it up, or zoom out a bit so you can see, move it up or down. Okay, pull it down out of the frame. Press P and a perfect looking tutorial video. Now, I'll also mention that if you're playing back your green screened clip and you're not getting the proper playback, you know, it's stuttering, it's stopping, it's starting, etc., etc., you can always come up here to playback and your render cache and set this to smart. Whenever you do that, you'll see a red line appear on top of any clip that needs to be rendered. And if you just wait a few seconds or possibly a few minutes, if it's a very, very long clip, that will render for you and then play back properly. Now, in this case, we don't have any problem playing it back. What is essentially here 3 layers of video, it plays back fine. But again, if on your system, you're getting stopping, starting, stuttering, and not smooth playback, head back up here to playback, go to your render cache and just turn on smart and it will render that for you. And then you'll get liquidy smooth playback for all of your green screened clips. All right. What do you say we continue on? Again, feel free to stop at any time. You already know the basics, but let's go ahead and continue on and do this a few more times. Maybe we'll do this clip right here. So let's walk through our steps one more time. Come up to Effects, open Effects, scroll down to 3D keyer, grab it, throw it on that track. From there, make sure you have your Open Effects overlay selected and turn that on. Head over here to your Effects tab in your inspector. All right, make sure you have the standard picker selected. Again, as long as this is on. If it's off and I click and drag, nothing happens. So make sure that is on. Click and start to drag. Now, let me turn this off. As you can tell on this green screen, it's not really lit that well. It's kind of dull. So this key might be kind of tough, but I think 3D Keyer can handle it. Now, if it can't, you can always head over to Fusion and use the Delta Keyer. Again, I'll have that video in the description below. Let's turn 3D Keyer back on. Let me just reset that, or we can delete the stroke, whatever you want to do. And let's do this again here. Now, again, because there is a bug in the beta version, I'm going to have to sort of call an audible here with the way I do this. Generally, I just select a bit and I'd stop. Then I'd probably show my my paths. Then I'd grab the add picker and then draw another stroke. But again, there's a bug in here and it's not working properly. Okay, so let's delete that stroke. We're going to call an audible here. Let's just reset it. I'm going to scroll out a bit on my viewer. And again, this bug will be fixed in the shipping version of DaVinci Resolve 18. This is the free version, by the way, so everybody can pick this version up right now. Let's do this again and grab our picker, and we'll just grab right here, grab all of these greenish areas. Now I'm going to come out of the frame over top of the subject and back down. Got around that little bug. Boom. Looks pretty good. Don't need to show the paths. Now, in this case, we didn't put anything underneath it yet, and that is just fine. You can always do that later on, but then we do have a bit of spill. So again, take your spill up until that green banding is gone, that green light. Okay. All right, so you also have some other options over here. You can do soft. The standard is flat. We could do, say, a tight. Now, on this tight, you'll notice these holes in that mask. Now, if you see something like that, some of those holes, a control you can use is down here in your matte finesse, and you can go to the clean black. So let's clean those blacks, and it ends up closing those holes in there. Now, if our subject had holes in them in the foreground, then you might want to go to the clean the whites on that. But in this case, it gives us a bit of an effect, an effect there, all right? But in this case, we don't need to use the tight or the luma. The flat works fine. You also have different color spaces that you can choose from. Use whichever one works best. In most cases, the YUV will probably work just fine for you. Let me grab something to put underneath him here. So I'll grab this restaurant. Again, instead of using a video, I'm just going to use just an image there. Of course, we could size him down, but since he's out of the screen, sizing him down won't look good. So there we go. Have our subject in a restaurant now, eating a burger. All right, pretty cool. You could also do some cool effects in here, like maybe you want to take that off of invert, and then you have your subject transparent and the background comes through. That's kind of a cool effect you might want to utilize. And by the way, this is not just for green screen. It can also work on blue screen and other colors as well. Just green is a pretty popular color that most people use, but don't limit yourself to just green. Try it on some other, background colors as well. If we just throw it on this orange clip real quick here. We know how to do this now, so we don't need to go through the instructions anymore. But as you can see, this is orange, right? And we pretty much have the key here. There we go. So now we've cut her out. Again, take it up. And I just need really anything random underneath this here. Now in this case, I'd have to move her down a bit. Check the band around it, and we de-spill that. All right. So if you remember those two things, just do your initial pick and then de-spill. That's going to take care of most of your problems, most of your green screen work. There we go. Pretty cool. Again, that was an orange background, which I'm not sure if you know this, but it's not green. All right. Let's do this again here. Now we have a, so like a presenter for the news. And underneath that, let me just turn that track off. We have this news set. All right, let's do it here again. This might be kind of a tough key, although it's nice that the green screen covers the entire frame, unlike our other clip over here where the green screen didn't cover the entire frame. Of course, we know what to do. Effects, open effects, 3D key, grab it, throw it right on there. Come up here to your inspector, over to the effects tab. Head over here to your transform, make sure open effects overlay is turned on. Very good. We have our picker selected, then click and drag. Again, we want to make the background black, and the person or the thing we want to keep, we want them to be a crisp white, because the white is what you're going to see and the black will become transparent. There we go. That's already a pretty good key. But once we zoom in, again, next thing to do, de-spill that a bit. Very good. Again, you know, sometimes if you have trouble, you might want to try some of these other color spaces here, or the other types like tight, for example, but it's not going to work for this. Yeah, I think flat and YUV works just fine for us. We can always show those paths again if we need to. More adjustments in here. Don't be afraid to get in here and get dirty and just start moving these things around and see what happens. You can also do some cool stuff, like maybe if I grab, we still have our open effects on there. We have our picker there. Just grab this part of her there. That's kind of cool. Now we have that news set sort of coming through her, right? It's kind of a cool thing. Cool effect that you can always check out and try. Do some cool stuff. Unorthodox stuff. That's kind of cool. See that in full frame. Again, hit P on your keyboard. Looks pretty cool. Again, you could have any kind of a background underneath that, sort of moving around. We could put that donut clip underneath her there. Kind of looks like a twirling donut, right? On her clothing, which is pretty cool, but we're not here to do that. Let's Control Z out of that. Put this back in place. Come back to our effects. Again, we have this clip selected. Let's just reset that. Come back here, picker. Let's go ahead and grab this again real quick. This really only takes, you know, a couple of seconds. You know, if you're not talking through it. There we go. Then we despill, and our despill is already set up. Very good. And in this case for her, I would need to come back to video, then maybe move this over and perhaps size her down a bit. Again, zoom in there using the mouse scroll wheel. Make sure she's out of the frame. There we go. Just use that center mouse wheel to press down and then drag to reposition this in the frame. Press Z on your keyboard to fit it to your viewer. Press P on the keyboard for full screen. Press your space bar to play back. And there we go. A perfect key. Let's do it another time. Why not? Let's just throw this in here. What do we have here? So we have somebody typing on a computer. Put this right underneath there. Those monkeys, of course, disable our track so we can see what's underneath it. We should know what to do, right? Effects, open effects, 3D keyer, throw it on. Make sure your open effects overlay is on. Head over here to your inspector. Make sure that clip is selected, of course. Inspector, effects tab, picker, draw. Okay, that one's a pretty easy one to capture there. And then de-spill it. Just de-spill that. And then tighten up your mask if you need to with all of your adjustments in here. Again, the best way to do this is just get in here and start throwing knobs around. You know, of course, you can use your garbage mat if you need to, or you can come back to video and crop as we showed in that previous example. All right, press Z on the keyboard and look at that. Look how fast that really was. So now the guy's typing to, you know, he's on Zoom with a monkey for some reason. I don't know why. I don't even want to ask, to be honest with you. All right, we'll grab this one here. So of course, this kind of a green screen is what you're going to be working with most of the time. So let's do it on something like this here. Again, have a bit, you know, it's a bit lighter here, a bit darker here. No problem. Effects, 3D keyer, right on the clip. Bada bing, bada boom. Effects right there, bada bing. just turned on here, but boom, grab this right around. We are good. Okay, got a bit of a problem right down there, but we're actually going to crop that out anyway. Although we could use our adjustments here to maybe shift it around a bit, perhaps. Maybe the lows on there a bit, and that's actually pretty good. Then despill it. Okay, right about there. Now we don't have a background behind this yet. No problem. Now again, you can use your garbage mat to get rid of this top part right up here and the walls, but I prefer to just come over here and crop. But let me turn that off first because it's easier to see what we're doing. Crop the left and crop the right and crop the top, and we're good. Key back on. We are good. Look at that. Went from this green screen here to completely transparent. Then, of course, put whatever you want underneath that. A theater audience for some reason. Maybe come back to video again. Squeeze it down. Put it wherever you want in the frame, or do as we did previously and put another background behind that. I'm just grabbing random clips here, folks. Grab that and put this here. For some reason, it looks kind of stupid, but you get the idea there. Okay. Another successful green screen here in DaVinci Resolve on the edit page. This time we'll grab maybe this dancing zombie, which is sideways. No problem. We have all the tools we need here in DaVinci Resolve. I'll grab something to just go underneath it. We already know what to do, right? Effects, open effects, 3D here, throw it right on your green screen clip. Again, make sure this is turned on. Inspector, effects, right there it is. Grab the black there. I'm going to come back around this way just to make sure that's good. Okay. Now we do, of course, have a problem here. Let me do the despill first. That's pretty good. Don't really need any other controls to adjust anything else. We'll come back here. And now we're going to rotate this around so he's standing upright. And of course, squeeze him down there. Actually, also going to crop. I think it's going to be the top in this case. It's a little dot there. Just going to crop that out instead of adjusting the key. Very good. Of course, we can head back here, turn this off so we can actually see what I did with that crop there on this top right here. Right there it is. There we go. Bada bing, bada boom, folks. That simple. Now we have a cool zombie there. Maybe make him a little bit lower right there. Very good. Got a cool dancing zombie. We do have a problem with some of those edges. Don't worry about that. We'll head back over here. Zoom in. Just that line there. Maybe use my Luma Low and grab that. Make sure it's off there. And then we have a pretty much a perfect key now. All right. So once again, that is how you can green screen right here in DaVinci Resolve, right from the timeline by using the 3D keyer.